Kai woke with a start, the sound of distant hums echoing through the metallic walls of the chamber. His head throbbed and his arms ached where restraints had pressed against him. The first thing he noticed was the light, soft, bluish, and unlike anything he had seen on Earth. He tried to move, but the restraints held him in place, though not uncomfortably, more like a suggestion than a prison. He had known that venturing into uncharted space carried risks, but this was beyond anything he had imagined. The last memory before waking here was of the skirmish with the alien patrol, a burst of energy, the sharp sting of blinding light, and then nothing. And now he was alive, which he guessed meant he was at their mercy. The door at the far end of the room opened silently, sliding into the wall without a sound. Kai's eyes widened as a figure entered. Tall, elegant, with elongated features and glowing, amber eyes, she moved with the confidence of someone born to command. The presence of the alien was overwhelming, not threatening, not cruel, just impossibly regal. "Human," the figure said, her voice melodic but firm. "You are alive, that is fortunate. That is why you are here." "Because I value potential," she said simply. "And you, human, possess it. You may not yet know it, but I do." She paused, regarding him with eyes that seemed to look past his skin and into something deeper. "Freedom, that is what you desire, yes. Specifically, my daughter, Princess Liara. If you accept, you will gain your freedom and a place within our society. If you refuse, you will remain here indefinitely. And if I agree, I am not just a prisoner, I am free." On the other, it was life in an alien society, marriage to someone he had never met, and a future he could not predict. He swallowed hard. I need to see her first," he said finally. Queen Elira studied him for a long moment, then nodded. "Very well, you will meet Liara, but know this, her heart has been closed for many cycles. Do not expect it to open easily." There, standing near a window that looked out over a sprawling alien city, was Liara. She was breathtaking, but not in the way humans thought of beauty. There was a sharpness in her eyes, a sadness and a strength that spoke of survival. Her long hair shimmered faintly, reflecting colors he could not name, and her posture was perfect, regal but wary. She turned slowly to face him. "So you are the human my mother has chosen." Her voice was soft, but there was an edge of skepticism that cut through the room. Kai bowed slightly, unsure how else to respond. "Yes, Princess Liara, my name is Kai. I have been given the honor of meeting you. You do not understand my life, my loss, and yet you speak of honor. I am not perfect, I may fail, but I do not want to hurt you, Princess. I only wish to earn your trust. My late partner, he was not of your kind, but he betrayed me and many of those who followed him. My court, my people, blamed me for trusting them. Perhaps it will not. Time will tell." She walked past him and toward a balcony, gesturing for him to follow. Hesitantly, he stepped out, and they looked out over the city together. The view was incredible. Towers that seemed to defy gravity reached into the sky, and vehicles glided silently along paths he could barely comprehend. Lights shifted and shimmered in ways that were almost alive, as if the entire city pulsed with consciousness. Liara spoke, her voice almost a whisper. "You see this world, and yet you are still a stranger. Tell me, human, what do you see when you look at it?" "But also, I see rules, traditions, and expectations that I do not yet understand. And I see you, someone who has suffered and yet stands strong. That is what I see most clearly. Sometimes stubborn, sometimes foolish, but always alive, always trying." To earn his freedom, he would have to navigate not just alien laws and expectations, but a human heart in an alien body, shaped by grief and mistrust. Finally, Liara spoke again. "Tomorrow, you will begin lessons in our culture, our etiquette, and our history. You will also begin to work with the engineers who maintain the city's core systems. They will test your knowledge, your skill, and your patience." Yet beneath the fear, a spark of determination ignited. He would face this challenge. He would earn his freedom, and in doing so, perhaps discover something extraordinary, not only about this alien world, but about himself. For the first time since his capture, Kai felt something he had not felt in weeks: hope. And so, the human who had stumbled into an alien court, offered freedom through marriage to a grieving princess, began the first day of a journey that would test his intellect, courage, and heart in ways he could never have imagined. The next morning, Kai awoke to the gentle hum of the chamber's energy fields. Light poured in from the high windows, reflecting off the smooth metallic surfaces. It was quiet, yet alive, as if the walls themselves breathed. Today was the beginning of his first real test, learning the ways of the Xiphorian court and the responsibilities he might one day share with Princess Liara. He dressed quickly in the standard uniform provided, sleek, dark fabric that adjusted to his body shape and moved like liquid. The material felt strange, unlike anything from Earth, yet comfortable. The door slid open silently, and a tall attendant waited, bowing slightly. "Kai," the attendant said, "Princess Liara awaits in the Hall of Knowledge. You will begin your lessons there." The corridor led them through a labyrinth of halls, each more breathtaking than the last. The walls glimmered with moving patterns, depicting stories Kai could not fully understand. Some seemed historical, others abstract, but all pulsed with life, as if the city itself was aware of him walking through it. When they entered the Hall of Knowledge, Kai froze for a moment. The room was immense, circular, with a high domed ceiling. In the center, a holographic display floated above the floor, showing shifting constellations, planetary maps, and symbols he could barely begin to decipher. Liara stood beside it, arms crossed, her eyes sharp. "You will begin with our history," Liara said, her tone crisp. "Our people have lived for thousands of cycles. We have rules, laws, and traditions. If you are to be part of this family, you must know them." The symbols shifted, forming words and numbers he could not yet comprehend. Liara guided him patiently, explaining their meanings, the importance of balance in their society, and the responsibilities of those in power. Hours passed as Kai struggled, stumbled, and occasionally laughed at his own mistakes. He mispronounced words, misread gestures, and failed more than once at demonstrating simple customs. Each time Liara corrected him, sometimes sharply, sometimes with a hint of amusement. "You are slow, but not stubborn," she observed finally, watching him adjust a ceremonial pattern incorrectly for the third time. "Some humans would have given up already." "I am not most humans," he replied. "I make mistakes, then I fix them. Your next lesson will be with the engineers. They maintain the city's core systems. If you fail here, the consequences are not just embarrassment, they could be dangerous." The doors opened to reveal a room filled with hovering tools, floating schematics, and devices that defied his understanding of physics. A group of Xiphorian engineers, tall and precise, watched him with skeptical eyes. "You are human," one of them said in a voice like wind chimes. "We hope your skills are worthy." "I will do my best." Hours passed as he studied, adjusted, and experimented. At first, nothing worked. Components sparkled, shifted, and then returned to an inactive state. Frustration began to creep in, but Kai reminded himself that he had survived far worse odds in space. Step by step, he mapped the energy flows, tested the circuits, and gradually the generator responded. Liara watched silently the entire time. Occasionally, she tilted her head, observing his methods. She frowned when he made a reckless adjustment, but she also noticed his creativity, solutions that Xiphorians might not attempt, but that worked nonetheless. Finally, with a quiet hum and a soft glow, the generator stabilized. The engineers gasped. Some nodded in approval, others whispered among themselves. Kai wiped sweat from his brow, his relief immediate. "You are competent," one engineer said finally. "Perhaps more than competent. You approach problems differently than we do, but you succeed. That is rare. This is impressive, but do not think that intelligence alone is enough." Kai adapted quickly, learning the language, culture, and customs, though still stumbling now and then. Liara was a strict teacher, but Kai noticed small moments of change. Her willingness to answer his questions, the rare smile when he impressed her, and even brief comments that were meant to guide rather than criticize. One afternoon, as they walked along a balcony overlooking the city, Kai finally asked the question that had been on his mind since their first meeting. "Liara, do you hate me for what my kind did to your people? You are clever, capable, and unlike others. That makes me wary, not resentful. If you succeed, perhaps then you will be more than a guest. You may become something permanent in our lives." Sometimes he practiced conversations, imagining how he would respond to Liara or the Queen. Other times he simply stared out at the city, marveling at its beauty, and wondering how a human could ever truly belong here. But slowly, Kai began to feel a connection, not just to the world around him, but to Liara herself. He noticed her small gestures, the way she paused before speaking, the fleeting softness in her eyes, the way she allowed him small freedoms during lessons. He understood that trust was a delicate thing, fragile and easily broken, yet he also sensed that it could grow with patience and respect. One evening, after a long day of lessons, Liara appeared at his quarters. She held a small device shimmering with energy. "This is a gift," she said simply. Not for your skill nor for your success, but as a symbol. You are learning, yes, but learning is only part of what you must do. You must also observe, understand, and adapt. Thank you, Princess. I will treasure it. I will not fail. And he knew that if he succeeded, he might earn not just freedom, but something far more valuable: trust, respect, and perhaps even friendship with the woman who had once seemed so distant and untouchable. As he prepared for sleep, Kai thought about the path ahead. It would not be easy. Liara's heart was guarded, the court skeptical, and the technology demanding. But he felt something he had not felt in a long time: hope. And hope, he knew, was often the first step toward survival and greatness. Kai closed his eyes, resolving to face the next day with courage, intelligence, and patience. The journey had only just begun, and already he could sense that life among the Xiphorians would challenge him in ways Earth never could. But he was human, and humans endured. And for Kai, endurance was just the beginning. Kai awoke to the faint vibration of the chamber walls. Something was different. The soft hum that usually marked the city's energy flow was irregular, flickering with subtle intensity. He sat up and rubbed his eyes, suddenly alert. A knock at the door interrupted him. Liara stepped in without preamble, her expression serious. "There's a situation," she said. "A disturbance has been detected in one of the outer districts. It appears there are rebels, some from colonies that have refused our authority. They are attempting to disrupt the city's energy supply. You will assist me in resolving this." He had faced complex engineering problems before, but this was different. This wasn't a classroom or a controlled experiment. This was real. Lives depended on their success. He nodded quickly. "I understand. I'll follow your lead." The journey to the outer district was fast, the city sprawling below them in intricate patterns of light and movement. Kai took in every detail, noting the towers, the floating bridges, and the intricate energy lines that connected the city like a web. When they arrived, the scene was tense. Parts of the district were dark, shadows flickering where energy lines had been damaged. Rebel forces had sabotaged several generators, and panic was spreading among the citizens. Liara turned to him. "We must repair the generators and stabilize the district before the sabotage spreads. You will lead the technical work. I will coordinate security and ensure the civilians are safe." But beneath the fear, a familiar spark ignited, the spark of human ingenuity. Humans thrived in situations where survival depended on quick thinking, adaptation, and clever problem-solving. He followed Liara to the first generator, a complex array of pulsing energy conduits. The device was massive, far larger than anything he had worked on before, with components that seemed to float in zero gravity. Symbols flickered across panels, and small energy arcs sparked intermittently. Kai's training kicked in. He examined the system carefully, noting patterns in the energy flow. "They've rerouted the conduits in ways that overload the system," he said, tracing a path with his finger. "If we can stabilize these nodes and redirect the flow temporarily, we can prevent a cascade failure. Every second counts." Most of our engineers would not dare these adjustments. They would follow protocol and risk failure. A piece had been tampered with so cleverly that a standard repair would fail. He paused, then smiled to himself. On Earth, he would have used a combination of wiring reroutes and temporary stabilizers. He adapted the idea to the alien technology, improvising a stabilizer using components he found nearby. Carefully, he inserted it into the conduit, watching as energy lines returned to balance. Liara's eyes widened slightly. "I underestimated you," she admitted. "You are more capable than I imagined." Step by step, he stabilized each generator, his mind moving faster than the pulsing energy around him. Hours passed. The sun, or whatever Xiphorians called their stellar light source, shifted, casting long shadows across the district. Citizens who had been stranded by failing energy lines began to move safely through the streets again. The rebels retreated as the city's defenses, coordinated by Liara, regained control. Finally, Kai took a deep breath. Every generator was stabilized. The district was safe. Liara approached him, her face composed but her eyes reflecting respect. "You have done well, human. You have saved lives today, not through force alone, but through intelligence and courage. Perhaps that is why your kind survives despite its weaknesses." But now he sensed a faint thread of trust forming. Perhaps she saw not just a human outsider, but a partner in problem-solving, someone whose mind and courage could stand alongside hers. The ride back to the capital was quiet. Kai reflected on the day's events, realizing how different he felt compared to when he first arrived. He was no longer just a guest or a prisoner. He had proven himself useful, capable, and perhaps even respectable in their eyes. When they reached the capital, Queen Elira awaited them in the courtyard. She looked at Kai with a mix of curiosity and satisfaction. "You have returned from the district," she said. "Tell me, human, how did you fare? You think differently from our people, yet you achieve results. That is rare indeed. Perhaps I underestimated your potential." For the first time, she allowed a hint of approval to show, small, subtle, but unmistakable. Later that evening, Kai found himself walking with Lyra along a balcony overlooking the city. The lights sparkled below, the energy lines glowing softly like veins of life. "You were reckless today," Lyra said, breaking the comfortable silence, "but also brilliant. I do not know whether to scold you or praise you." "That is unexpected." Kai realized that the bond between them, though still fragile, was growing. She was beginning to see him not just as an outsider, but as a partner, someone whose mind and courage complemented her own. Kai also understood that this was only the beginning. Today's success had proven his skills, but the challenges ahead would be far greater. Political intrigue, cultural expectations, and even potential threats from outside the city could test him in ways he could not yet imagine. But he felt ready. Humans survived through ingenuity, persistence, and courage, and he had all three in abundance. As the night deepened, Lyra turned to him. "Rest well, human. Tomorrow will bring new lessons, new challenges, and perhaps new understanding. Do not underestimate what lies ahead." And for the first time since his capture, Kai felt a deep, quiet confidence. He was no longer just a human in an alien world. He was a problem solver, a survivor, and perhaps, slowly, carefully, a companion worthy of trust. The city around him pulsed with life, alien yet familiar, challenging yet inviting. Kai took a deep breath, ready to face whatever came next. Because in this world, humans survived by thinking differently, and today that difference had made all the difference. Kai awoke to a low, urgent vibration running through the walls of his quarters. Something was wrong. The usual hum of the city had changed. It was faster, irregular, tense. He leapt from his bed and quickly dressed, adrenaline already rushing through his veins. A knock came at the door. Lyra entered immediately, her face grave. "Kai, get ready. It's worse than before. The outer colonies have launched an attack. They are targeting not just our energy systems, but the central districts. Civilians are at risk. We need to act now." "How many attackers?" he asked, scanning the display panel on her arm device. "Too many to count precisely. Hundreds of ships, coordinated attacks on multiple energy hubs and defense systems. They are fast and ruthless." He took a deep breath and nodded. "Then let's do this. Show me what I can help with." Fail, and the consequences will be catastrophic. Engineers scrambled, alarms blared, and the city's lights flickered dangerously. Kai immediately set to work, analyzing the energy conduits, mapping out the failures, and prioritizing critical nodes. Lyra moved like a general on a battlefield, giving orders, calming civilians, and directing security forces. Kai watched her in action and realized how impressive her leadership truly was, calm under pressure, decisive, and clear-headed even amidst chaos. Kai focused on the first major generator. Energy arcs sparked dangerously, threatening to overload the entire system. He traced the flow, noticing how the attackers had hacked and rerouted the conduits to cause maximum disruption. His hands moved quickly, adjusting components, rerouting power, and improvising stabilizers using spare modules. A blast rocked the building, throwing Kai off balance. Dust filled the air and sparks rained down from the ceiling. He coughed, shaking his head to clear it. Lyra shouted instructions over the comm system, but Kai barely needed them. His human instincts took over, connecting patterns and finding solutions faster than the attackers could destroy them. The generator stabilized with a low hum. Relief swept over him briefly, but it was short-lived. Another node flared dangerously across the hub. He ran, recalculating in real time. The attackers were sophisticated, but they underestimated human adaptability. Kai combined Zyphorian methods with his own unconventional ideas, stabilizing the system just in time. Lyra appeared at his side, her expression tense but approving. "Your methods are unorthodox but effective," she said. "I am impressed, Kai. Your thinking complements ours. Together we can hold them off." He continued moving through the hub, repairing sabotaged systems, improvising solutions, and coordinating with engineers who now trusted him more than ever. Hours passed like minutes. Outside, the attackers pressed harder, firing on key structures and attempting to break through defenses. But the city was resilient, and Kai's quick thinking kept the core systems stable. Liara directed counterattacks, her team moving with precision and purpose. Finally, a critical moment arrived. One of the primary energy towers, responsible for powering half the district, was under direct attack. Explosions had damaged several conduits, and the system was moments from total failure. Kai ran to the control panel, analyzing the damage. "They've rerouted the energy to overload the core," he shouted to Liara. Liara nodded. "We must act together. I will coordinate defense drones. You stabilize the conduits. Can you do it?" Sparks flew, the lights flickered, and alarms blared, but Kai stayed focused. Human ingenuity shone through every move, every adjustment. He improvised solutions that the Xiphorian engineers would not have considered, connecting ideas and components that seemed incompatible but worked perfectly. Liara watched, coordinating security drones, fending off attackers, and directing civilians to safety. Her trust in Kai was evident now. She no longer questioned his choices. She acted alongside him as a partner, each complementing the other's skills. With a final adjustment, the tower stabilized. Energy flowed smoothly, the lights returned, and the city breathed a sigh of relief. Kai slumped against the control panel, exhausted but exhilarated. Liara approached him, her expression unreadable. "You have done well," she said simply. "You did not just stabilize systems, you inspired confidence. Engineers, civilians, even the defense teams, they are seeing that a human can be more than an outsider. Perhaps that is why I am beginning to reconsider my first impressions. You are not only clever, you are reliable under pressure, and that is rare." Kai finally allowed himself a deep breath, feeling the weight of the day's efforts. He had survived, not just physically, but intellectually. He had proven his human adaptability in a world that often seemed alien and impossible. Liara walked with him through the hub, inspecting the repairs. "You exceeded my expectations," she said. "You saved lives today, human. And perhaps, more than that, you saved faith in what humans can accomplish. My people may begin to see you not as a stranger, but as an ally. That is remarkable, and it is why you are beginning to earn my respect." That evening after the battle, Queen Elira summoned them both. She regarded Kai carefully. "You have returned victorious," she said. "Your skill saved countless lives, and your actions reflect intelligence and courage. You have begun to earn your place here." "And you, Liara," the Queen said, "have learned that alliances, unexpected as they may be, can strengthen our people. Together, you two have shown the potential of partnership. This is important." For a human to be recognized in an alien court in such a way was extraordinary. Later, Kai and Liara walked together on a balcony overlooking the city. The sky glowed faintly with alien light, stars scattered across the horizon in impossible patterns. Kai realized how far he had come, from a captured engineer to someone who had led life-saving operations in an alien city. "You were brave today," Liara said quietly. "Not just clever, but brave. Most humans would have panicked. Most Xiphorians would have frozen. But you acted, and your actions saved lives. And we try, even when the odds are impossible." Trust was still fragile, and there was still much to learn, but he could feel the bond growing between them. The Queen's offer of freedom and marriage was no longer just a choice or a test. It was becoming something meaningful, something built on respect, courage, and shared experience. As night fell over the city, Kai sat alone for a moment, thinking about the day's events. The attackers had failed, the citizens were safe, and he had proven himself in ways he had never imagined possible. He realized that being human, resilient, adaptive, and courageous was perhaps the greatest advantage he had, even in an alien world. He thought of Liara, of the Queen, and of the challenges yet to come. The bond they were building, fragile as it was, would be tested again. But Kai felt ready. Humans survived not because they were perfect, but because they were relentless, adaptable, and willing to face the unknown. And tonight, in the quiet of the alien city, Kai understood something important. Survival was only the beginning. Trust, respect, and partnership were the next challenge, and he was ready to meet it one step at a time. Kai closed his eyes, feeling the hum of the city beneath him, a pulse of life and energy. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new lessons, and perhaps even deeper bonds. But for now, he allowed himself a small, rare moment of triumph. He was human. He had endured. And he had begun to make his mark. The morning sun, or the alien star that bathed the city in pale light, had barely risen when alarms blared across the capital. Kai woke instantly, senses sharpened from the battles and challenges of the past days. Something was wrong. Liara appeared at his door without knocking. Kai, the outer colonies have launched a coordinated assault. They aim to cripple the city's central systems and break our defenses. This time it's full-scale. We have no margin for error. Together, civilians had been evacuated, but the stakes were higher than ever. Failure here could mean death for thousands. Kai immediately assessed the damage. Multiple generators had been sabotaged, energy conduits rerouted, and automated systems offline. The attackers were skilled, relentless, and coordinated. But Kai's human adaptability and ingenuity had prepared him for moments like this. Liara coordinated the defense teams with calm precision. Kai, focus on stabilizing the core. I will manage the perimeter and keep the drones in position. If we fail, the city falls. Sparks jumped dangerously from overloaded conduits, but Kai remained focused. He improvised stabilizers using spare modules, rerouting energy with careful precision. Each move was calculated, balancing speed with caution. A sudden explosion rocked the hub, throwing him to the floor. Dust and debris filled the air. Kai coughed but quickly regained his footing. The human's ability to adapt under pressure had never been more valuable. He recalibrated his adjustments mid-repair, connecting components in ways that seemed unconventional to the Xiphorians but worked flawlessly. Liara's voice rang through the comms. Kai, that node is critical. Without it, the energy cascade will destroy the surrounding sectors. I've never seen anyone think like this. He coordinated with engineers and drones, his human intuition complementing Xiphorian precision. At one point, a massive energy spike threatened to blow out the entire central hub. Kai recognized the pattern immediately. Liara, I need access to the secondary core, he shouted. Liara nodded and cleared the path. Kai raced through corridors, dodging falling debris, and reached the secondary core. The attacker's sabotage had overloaded the conduits, and the energy pulsed dangerously. He analyzed the situation, devising a solution that combined Xiphorian engineering with human ingenuity. Step by step, he rerouted the energy, stabilizing the overload. Sparks erupted, panels flickered, and the hum of the core wavered, but finally balance was restored. The central hub shone with steady energy once more, signaling the first major victory of the day. Liara approached him, her expression both stern and impressed. Kai, you've done the impossible. Your actions saved countless lives. You have not just survived this challenge, you have proven yourself indispensable. The city, your teams, the engineers, they all played their part. I just connected the pieces. Kai and Liara moved through the city, coordinating defenses and repairs. The bond between them had strengthened immensely. They acted not as teacher and student or alien and human, but as partners. Each instinctively knew the other's moves, complementing one another in perfect harmony. By mid-afternoon, the attackers had been pushed back. The city, though damaged in places, stood intact. Kai was exhausted, covered in soot and dust, yet his heart soared. Humans survived because they adapted, and he had demonstrated that strength in an alien world. Queen Elira arrived at the central hub, observing the results of the battle. She regarded Kai carefully, her eyes sharp and discerning. You have returned victorious, human, she said. Your intellect, bravery, and ingenuity have saved countless lives. You have exceeded all expectations. Trust, courage, and adaptability. These qualities may unite your people and humans alike. Today, you both have shown that alliances, even unlikely ones, can prevail against impossible odds. I am proud to have had you by my side. Civilians emerged cautiously, engineers began repairs, and the streets slowly came back to life. You've changed my perspective, Liara said quietly. I thought humans were unpredictable, sometimes reckless, often fragile. But you have shown that we underestimated your resilience, your ingenuity, and your courage. Perhaps humans are stronger than I imagined. We endure because we must, we survive because we adapt, and sometimes we thrive because we try when others would give up. He had come to this alien world seeking freedom, but now he realized that he had found something far more meaningful: partnership, respect, and the potential for connection that transcended species. The queen approached them then, standing silently as they overlooked the city. She regarded Kai with a mixture of approval and quiet pride. You have proven yourself worthy, she said. Freedom has been offered, but I ask, do you wish to stay? Not as a prisoner or guest, but as a partner to my daughter, as a member of our society. Because I have earned this place, and I want to be part of this world. and part of Liara's life. Today, you have shown that humanity's resilience, intelligence, and courage can thrive even in worlds far beyond your own. You have earned not just freedom, but honor, trust, and a place among us. He had faced the unknown, endured challenges beyond imagination, and proven that humans could survive, adapt, and thrive even in alien worlds. As night fell over the city, Kai and Liara stood together, watching the lights shimmer. The capital was safe, the battle won, and their bond stronger than ever. Kai knew the future would hold new challenges, new tests, and perhaps even new dangers. But he also knew that with courage, ingenuity, and trust, humans could face anything. And for the first time since his capture, Kai felt truly at home. He was human. He had endured, and now he was part of something greater, a family, a society, and a world where his strength, mind, and courage mattered. Tomorrow, the city would face new challenges. New threats might come. But tonight, Kai allowed himself a moment of quiet victory, for he had not only survived, he had thrived. And with Liara by his side, he knew that nothing was impossible.